Only those individuals who have attained the highest cosmic world have absolute 100% knowledge of the whole cosmos and of the three aspects, matter, motion, and consciousness. Just as men must receive knowledge of higher worlds from individuals in the fifth natural kingdom, so the latter in their turn must receive knowledge of still higher worlds and of existence in its entirety from individuals in the sixth natural kingdom, etc., throughout the series of ever higher kingdoms. But all receive only the knowledge necessary for them to understand reality, to develop further, which they cannot acquire by themselves. All individuals in higher kingdoms are researchers in their worlds and have to acquire their own knowledge of everything in these and learn to apply without friction the knowledge of those laws of nature and of life which are constant in their worlds. By essentializing, the causal self acquires an envelope of essential 46 matter, and in so doing passes from the fourth to the fifth natural kingdom. The fifth natural kingdom consists partly of 46 selves, essential selves, with envelopes and consciousness in the planetary essential world, partly of 45 selves, with envelopes and consciousness in the solar systemic super-essential world. The consciousness of the essential envelope is that of unity. The individual knows that he is his own self, having a self-identity that can never be lost, but also a larger self, together with all the monads in the five natural kingdoms, and, when he so desires, he experiences others' consciousness as his own. The drop consciousness has become one with the ocean consciousness. The quote-unquote union with God is the self's acquisition of the consciousness of unity. In the atoms of all the lower worlds, 47 to 49, there are essential atoms having passive consciousness, which can be activated by vibrations from without, God immanent. It is only at the higher emotional stage that the individual is sufficiently developed to be able to perceive these vibrations some time at all. In the secret knowledge order of the Gnosticians, the 46 consciousness was called the Son, or Christos, and the 43 consciousness the Father, or the Great Carpenter. The 46 self is omniscient in worlds 46 to 49. Omniscience does not mean that the individual knows everything about everything, but that he is able, when need be, to quickly find out anything he wants to know in his worlds, independently of space and past time. Only essential consciousness can become conscious in the physical, emotional, and mental atoms. Before it is acquired, subatomic molecular consciousness is the highest kind of consciousness in the different worlds. After it has acquired these kinds of atomic consciousness, the monad can identify itself with the total consciousness of these worlds and their unadulterated memories of past time. As an essential self, the individual has to acquire by himself, through his own research, complete knowledge of everything of importance in the worlds of man, 47 to 49. Essential monads form a collective being of their own, having a common total consciousness. The essential self does not need to incarnate further, since he has no more to learn in the kingdom of man. He often does incarnate, however, in order, by all means and by personal contact, to help those preparing for their entrance into the higher kingdom. All the thanks he may reckon on are to be misunderstood, abused, and persecuted, especially by those who, with their habitually conceited overestimation of themselves, consider themselves ready, but fail in the tests which they unwittingly undergo. When mankind has come to see its almost total ignorance of life, and its inability to solve the problems and to guide development, even 45 selves and still higher avatars will be prepared to incarnate, provided their help is called for by an appreciable percentage of mankind. To do so before that would be a meaningless sacrifice. The essential self's task as regards himself is not only to relearn in all respects, but also gradually to acquire consciousness in the 6 molecular kinds of its envelope, in this replacing the lower with the higher, until the envelope consists exclusively of essential atomic matter. When this has been achieved, the individual begins a corresponding process of activation and consciousness in the 45 world in order to become a 45 self. The super-essential self is constantly experiencing anew that lower world's light is higher world's darkness, not only literally, but also symbolically. As regards consciousness, a 45 self is to a man as a man is to a plant. In some esoteric books, essentiality is called love and wisdom, and superessentiality, will. Such terms are misleading, to say the least of it. The inability to find new terms is remarkable, considering that the least technical novelty can have one of its own. To use the word love of essentiality, and at the same time to say that man does not know what love is, affords no clarity. But the confusion of ideas is so much greater, so that people at once are ready to aver that man is incapable of love. Human love is attraction, physical, emotional, and mental. Regrettably, it can turn into repulsion if it is not genuine. For essential consciousness, there is neither attraction nor repulsion, only inseparable unity with all, will to unity. The term will, as applied to superessentiality, is equally hopeless, and at the most, it can have its old philosophic meaning. Will is the relation of consciousness to a purpose, but that is, to be sure, meager information. A suitable term for 46 consciousness is world consciousness, for 45 consciousness, planetary consciousness, 44 consciousness, interplanetary consciousness, and for 43 consciousness, solar systemic consciousness. The essential self knows that the law is inflexible and inevitably just, that life is divine, and that all monads are indestructible. It knows that life is happiness, and that suffering exists only in the 3 lower molecular kinds of the physical and emotional worlds, 49.5-7 and 48.5-7, and then only as bad reaping from bad sowing.